Hello guys, welcome to another video of this channel. So in today's video we are gonna do a macro to micro analysis for team, AMD and V. So basically, first of all, starting with team, you can see that on the wave 7 daily, which actually gives us the weekly bias, is showing that we are in a probable area of reversal. Because you guys know that whenever I share my charts, I definitely tell you guys that if we are near the 20%, 10% and the 5% band, just make out that we are gonna see a bullish move. Okay, now that's just a plus setup formation. Now you can also see that we are actually following this trend line, so this means that we got two confluences for more reversal, and we are above the vector. Now above the vector simply means that we are just not bullish, but it can actually tell you that okay, we actually crossed a resistance. Now that resistance became our support. You can also see the standard deviation. This thing right here is actually going for the squeeze. You can see here the standard deviation started to reverse when we saw the bullish move, and to get more into the squeeze we need to see more bullish move here. Now as we get into the squeeze, now what is the next step we want the market to do? We want to see first of all a bullish squeeze, then we want to see team above the pivot, then we want to see a K signal. Okay, Raghav, you just mentioned the K signal. What does that actually mean? So, first of all, K signal forms when we are above the pivot. For example, we transition above the pivot, we get the K signal. Now, this K signal needs to be sustained so that we can actually see kind of like a similar move to this. Unlike this, we can see that we actually get some kind of path signals too. Of course, nothing's 100% accurate, but this setup can actually give you a nice move if we are in the squeeze like this one. We actually can see that we actually saw a move from 1.3% to 11.9%. Now that's just great. That's just phenomenal performance by team. Now similar setup we can see in here, that we just need to get above the pivot. We want to see the K signal. Then of course we need the market to take out the open state, because these open state are to be converted into closed state one time into the future. It has to happen 100%. It's confirmed. Okay, so these are your trade targets. Now looking at the wave 7 60-minute. Okay, great. So you guys can see here we are above the pivot, we are bullish, we are having a bullish macro trend. We are also having the K signal. We are in the squeeze. So basically, if we are in the squeeze, that means that we want to see some kind of expenditure in our favored direction. Now, what is our favorite direction? Bullish side. Of course, it can happen because you can see here the mean wave is actually kind of above, kind of below, just below the 20% band. So that definitely shows that okay, we have a lot of upside fear. And most of the times I have seen that the mean wave is touched, so basically it can be a good target for your trades. Now before that we want to target the 169.91 open. That is the open state. I told you these open state are to be closed, like this one, this H81 right here. This one was closed, so most probably this one should be closed this week. Now it depends what kind of volatility we get. Of course, in here we can see that we are in the squeeze, so we can actually expect the market to take out this open state and convert it into the closed state. Now you guys just saw that I gave you my analysis that I do for my tickers, whatever tickers I look at. This is the kind of analysis I do. Now you can just simply copy paste to your style, because I've noticed that this is the very strong way of analyzing with the fractals, and it definitely works out for me, and I'm sure that it can work out for you if you do the same correct steps. Now, looking at the wave 10 15 minute, of course, this is just for Monday. This is the Monday pre-market right now. So this can only work for Monday. We are above the pivot. We are in the squeeze, and we are kind of seeing the bullish squeeze happening. You can see here it's actually, the market is actually getting out of the standard deviation squeeze. So we want to see more volatile move on team, and you can actually see that the mean wave is kind of below the 20% band, so we actually have decent amount of upside fear. So of course this setup can also work on Monday. Now, on the second part of the video, I will actually show you the before and after. So, for example, this part was the before video. Now, in the after video, I will show you what kind of reaction we saw for the whole week or for the particular day, like Monday, so that you guys can get the idea that how powerful this kind of analysis can be. Now, moving on to AMD. Okay, great. Now in AMD, you guys can see that we actually have the macro trend which is bullish, right? You can see it's green, so it's bullish. And we got the K signal. We were in the squeeze, and we are actually getting out of the squeeze right now. And we want to see more sustained green or bullish move. And you can actually see that the mean wave is showing decent amount of upside fear, and with the help of the standard deviation squeeze, or you can say it's kind of expanding now, we can actually expect the market to actually hit this target. Now of course it's gonna take a lot of time. I cannot just expect this to happen in just 1 week. Some of these moves can take like 2 to 3 weeks to happen, right? Now just we just made out our bias that on the daily we are bullish. Simple. Now moving on to the hourly time frame. Okay, great. Now you can see on the hourly time frame we are actually in the clear area, and we are actually first of all rejecting from the mean wave. Now you can see the market is currently not favoring any direction, but we are above the vector. So basically on Monday, if the market sustains above the vector, we might see a breakout from it now. And what should be our next target? Of course, the open states. The open state of 169.51 will be our first target. Then of course we can target the 20% band, then the 173.37. Of course it's not going to be that easy of a target, but I was just showing you the probabilities that can happen. And we are having the macro trend as greens. Of course this move is possible. And in the squeeze, if we just get out of the squeeze now, on this Monday, we might see the move today only, or like this day is Monday, so we can see the move today. Now, for the most ideal move, we need to see the standard deviation getting out of the squeeze, because this will not give us any kind of move. This is just giving us consolidation, and this is not gonna be beneficial for us. Okay, so now we are gonna be talking about V. Now on V, I see a really good setup forming with a trend line. You can see we are following this trend line from like 2023, and like now it's 2024 and we are still following it, and you can see we actually rejected from it pretty nicely. So what's the most ideal move we want to see now? We want to see V getting below the pivot and probably see a sustained move. For that, we want to see the standard deviation flattening. Okay, Raghav, you just mentioned the standard deviation flattening. What does that mean? So, when the standard deviation flattens, it generally means that we are going to see a reversal. Like here, we are actually at the middle of the standard deviation, which actually gives really nice reversals, you guys can see here. So, it's probable that we can actually see a reversal from here, right? So I just made out my bias that okay, I'm not gonna look for longs. My bias will be completely bearish. Now looking at the 60-minute, what else do I see? Oh, great. Okay, but the macro trend here is bullish. We want to see that getting bearish. For that to happen, we need to see a more bearish squeeze. We got below the pivot, we got the M signal, we are in the squeeze. So basically, this is kind of an ideal situation to get a sustained bearish move. Also, the mean wave is actually near the 20% band, so means that we have a decent amount of downside fear, and we can actually chase the mean wave on V. So I have showed you 3 analyses today. Now we are gonna look at the after results of these analyses. I've told you the same is for V. We are gonna look for these targets. These will be the targets for the week. Now there is no 100% guarantee for these setups to work. Okay, I'll talk to you guys the next week now. Let's just move on to the next part of the video. Hello everybody, welcome back to the video. So this is the before and after video of the macro and the micro analysis. So this is the after part. So we're going to be talking about our trade on V, AMD and team. Now out of these three trades, only V trade worked out, but of course not all of your trades will work out because we are looking at the probabilities. We need to look at the most probable stuff, and that is the only role we have, because like the result is not in our hands, right? We can look at the best of the best confluences, but for them to work, it's in the hand of the market makers. So in this video only going to be talking about the V trade and how it performed. You can see that we had the trend line setup and you can see the rejection from it, pretty nice. And now also we have like a decent amount of downside fear on it. You can see the mean wave is like really to the downside, indicating we have a good amount of downside fear. So this trade worked out. I'm going to show the confluences and the open states we closed. So first of all, let us just go to team. So on team, we had a bullish bias. We did go above the pivot, but the macro trend failed to change, because I thought that if we are in the squeeze, we might see the K signal, and that K signal might sustain, and that can lead to the change in the macro trend, and that could have led to a rally. But of course, uh, it wasn't supposed to happen, first of all, because like we already had a red macro trend, so it was less probable in that condition. But we did our part, to an extent that we looked at the most probable stuff, that we had 80% chance of reversal, so we did our part. But the else result is not in our hands. Now also looking at the AMD trade. Okay. Okay, so on AMD we were having again a bullish bias. Now, of course, the AMD was mainly consolidation. See, the AMD was like an A plus setup, but like due to consolidation, the macro trend changed that led to the bad setup. So basically, if we had really nice volatility, we could have seen a better kind of a setup that I could have formed on AMD. But yeah, all probabilities, we looked at the best stuff on AMD, but of course, it is not in our hands to make them work, right? So I'm going to show for V what confluences we had. So for V, guys know that we had the trend line resistance. We actually resisted perfectly from the trend line. And then the open states you guys see here are from the hourly. Let me just show you the hourly chart so that you guys can actually see what I'm talking about right here. So on V, I actually took the open states from the hourly, okay, because I knew this setup can work, because the trend line usually leads to good setups, right? Oh, I most of the time do show my trend line setups, and they work really really good. So we close this open state, this open state, this open state, and this open state. So I marked these two open state as one, like I used the average price of them because that was more convenient. And I have also marked out these open states on my charts, right? Now you can see how beautifully the market kept on taking our targets. Now we had the 80% band imprint support. Now this is from the wave 7 daily. I showed you guys the charts, I'll show again. So if I turn on the wave 7 daily, you guys can see that, no, wave 10 daily, sorry. Yeah, perfect. On the wave 10 daily, we had a perfect support from the imprint. So I basically just look at the wave 10 daily and wave 7 daily. Or if I'm looking at really long swing trades, I go for the wave 50 and wave 100. Okay, you do not need to look at them every single day. You just need to look at the wave 50 and wave 100 if you're looking forward to take a swing trade and you're gonna hold for the next few months. Okay, that is the main aim of the wave 50 and the wave 100, and they work pretty accurately. Now along with the wave 7 and the wave 10, you can also use wave 20, but you need to make sure that you need to see some kind of vector support or vector resistance from it, because the v20 vector works the best. We'll talk about that sometime later when we'll make more macro to micro analysis. So I think so. I did share the setup. We saw the probabilities. We saw one setup working really good. We had a full bearish week. It went really good. So yeah, I think so. This is gonna be the end of the video. Keep learning. Stay safe.